Untitled, Wisconsin. Today we're out here doing a little bonus segment for you guys on how to set up your deer rifle. And I've got Mr. John King with me, who's a warden with the Wisconsin DNR. John, good to see you today.
Good to see you.
Before we get started, why don't you talk to me a little bit about what your role is with the department?
Well, as you can tell, I'm a conservation warden for the state of Wisconsin. Part of my job is going out and doing the work of a law enforcement officer, but the main part of my job is to actually run the hunter education program for the state. So as part of that, we have about 3,200 volunteer instructors that volunteer their time and teach hunter education all around the state of Wisconsin. So through our partnership with what law enforcement does and what the education program does, it's a good mix, and we provide a very accurate account of what happens in the field to our students as they go forward and get into their career of hunting. Through our, our investigations, we have to take care of the hunting accident investigations, and so we use that knowledge that we've gained through the good and the bad, and we've provided that to our education staff, and through education we've done a very good job with our volunteers and reducing our hunting accidents. Back in 1966 we had 250 plus hunting accidents, and here this last year we had about 20 hunting accidents. So there's a significant amount of work that's been done over 52 years, and it's working well for Wisconsin.
So now let's get started. If you're new to hunting or if you're experienced, what are the kind of the first steps you need to take before getting your deer rifle ready for a deer season?
Well, the key thing for getting your rifle ready is just getting it out ahead of time and making sure that it's of good quality and good craftsmanship to go out into the field. From year to year, if you don't take care of it, just like any tool or piece of equipment, it's going to deteriorate. So take the time to give it a good once over and make sure that it's working properly before you go. And then the one thing is, every single year you got to get it out, and you got to take it out and do a little bit of shooting and sight in and practice with it. Just don't assume that it's ready to go from one year to the next.
Scope could get bumped in the off season in the back of a truck, whatever.
Gun gets wet and you put it away, and now you got a lot of rust that you got to get cleaned up, and just some things like that to think about before you go out.
Absolutely. And it's your responsibility as a hunter to take those steps into consideration before deer season comes up, because you're taking the life of an animal. I mean, it's no small thing when you're doing that. So you've got to make sure that your tool, like you said, is sighted in and ready to go. What are some common mistakes that you see people make when they're sighting in their deer guns?
Well, the key thing is making sure that the equipment is properly secured to the firearm. And in this particular case, the most modern way of hunting is with some type of optics. And not setting up that optics on this firearm correctly, securing it properly, and in some cases putting it the right direction. Use some of the online resources and make sure that you understand how to put your gun together properly, and also read your manual. That's from the optics company and the firearms company. It gives you some kind of key factors there to help set it up properly.
So it's important to think about the ethical shot that we're going to be putting on these animals, but we also got to factor in that there's likely other hunters in the woods with us, and safety is a huge concern.
Yes, it is. Every one of our hunting accidents that we have throughout our history, we could always point back to one or two firearm safety rules that are being violated. Our message, we've given it to a little over 1.1 million students now in the hunter education program. We use the 4 firearm safety rules, which we call Tab K. That first one is treat your firearm as if it's loaded. So whether I'm on the range, at home, out in the field, just treat it as it's a loaded gun. The next one is always point your muzzle in a safe direction. The end of your gun should be always pointed in somewhere safe, whether it's down, into the ground, somewhere downrange, somewhere that it's safe for everybody to be around. The next one is be certain of your target, what's in front of it and what's beyond it. So I need to know exactly what I'm shooting at. Is there something in front of it, and then what's behind it? Because most bullets don't just stop after they've hit the animal, they continue on from there. So is there a safe distance behind there for this bullet on this rifle to hit the ground? And the last one is what we call K, is keep your finger outside the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. With that one, many times our hunting accidents happen when we get to our location, we get ourselves ready, which is part of loading the gun, cycling the action, and we have our safety off and we pull that trigger and we end up shooting ourselves or our hunting partner. So we just want to make sure that we follow those 4 firearm safety rules and we can keep bringing those hunting accidents down.
We're actually here today at the Vortex indoor range, and there's other areas like this that folks can go out and use to sight in their guns. You can go do it outside. I mean, as long as you're in a good, safe environment, there's lots of opportunity to do that. But how do you know when your gun is sighted in, ready to go?
Well, that's, ultimately that really is determined by the time you've invested into scouting ahead of time. So if you go out to where I'm going to be hunting at and I do my range finding and find that I can only shoot 100 to 150 yards, I'm going to sight my gun in for that, and that's going to vary just slightly. Some people like to sight their gun in at 100 yards, 0 bullseye shot, and that's perfectly fine. For that 50 yards difference, there's not going to be much deviation in the trajectory of this round. But now if I go out and I have 200, 300, 400 yards of shooting that I'm going to try, now I need to set my gun up a little bit different and I need to spend more time practicing doing that. And so as part of this, make sure you kind of understand where you're at, where you're going, and do the sighting according for that. So if I'm only going to have a 75-yard shot, I should probably practice from 0 to 75 yards.
You mentioned making sure that your equipment is ready to go to the field. How do you know when you need to replace a scope or something like that, for example?
Well, some of the things that you do is just kind of that pre-trip inspection of your firearm. First thing that I'm always going to do with my gun when I'm on the range is I want to make sure that the safety still works on that. If that doesn't work, this gun is no longer used until it's fixed. Right. And then just do a quick check of your firearm, kind of seeing if there's no dents, no bangs, no nothing. Make sure that everything cycles and works on the gun. The action locks like it's supposed to. The optics, just checking your optics, making sure that it's still clear, not foggy, rain spots or anything that I need to clean off of my firearm. And then from there, I'll get out and fire 10, 20, 30 rounds, whatever I got time to do, and make sure that it's sighted in still.
And if folks want to learn more about how to do that, like how to mount a scope, for instance, or find a place where they want to shoot or anything like that, is there a place where they can do that?
Well, for your optics in your gun, obviously the manufacturer's website, Vortex Optics here on this gun has some videos on how to actually mount your fire or your scope on your gun. And then for us on the Department of Natural Resource, we actually have a website where you can find all the ranges of Wisconsin, not just a public range, but the private ranges that are out there. And it'll help you by looking on our Department of Natural Resource website.
Hopefully you guys got something out of these tips that John's been sharing with you today, and don't take this stuff for granted. A lot of folks get out there and they worry about their food plots and their tree stand locations, but they don't give this its due diligence, and this is so important in taking an animal ethically in the field and remaining safe out there when you're out there hunting with your buddies and your family and your friends.
That's correct. The amount of time that you put into your equipment and everything that you do, why not spend a little more time with your gun and getting familiar with it?
The biggest thing here is we can't cover every last detail that you guys need to know before heading to the field, and that's why we're going to post some links for you down in the description below where you can go to different places like you mentioned, vortexoptics.com and the DNR website, and learn more about this stuff in detail. We can't overstate how important it is for you guys to learn these details so you're ready to go this fall. Thanks for joining us today, John.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the first part of this segment with John. One thing we were discussing with him was hunting accidents. One of the main accidents we see starts right here at the tree stand. And I want to discuss tree stand safety in detail with you. Most falls occur on the way up to or out of the stand. And with the proper safety gear, it's completely preventable. The 3 main components that we have here is a safety harness. As you can tell, I've got it on, I've got it snug, I've got it set to fit my frame. I've got a lineman's rope here, and I've also got what we call a safe line. And with the use of these 3 components, you should never be unattached from the tree. This keeps you attached to the tree safely from the ground up to the stand and all the way back down. It's going to prevent a lot of falls if you use this equipment correctly. First thing is the harness. The main thing here is that you want to buy one that fits your frame. As you can tell, this one fits me perfectly. They should attach around your chest, your waist, and your legs, as you can see here. That way, in the event of the fall, this distributes your weight evenly so that you don't have pinch points on your body and you can then get back onto the tree safely. The second item is just as important as the harness. This is a lineman's rope. It's a very simple device, but it's going to help you get up the tree initially and get the stand set up. I'll show you how it works real quick. I'll take this rope, throw it around the tree, just like I am here at the base. Going to attach with 2 carabiners. As you'll see, I'll make sure I get those good and fastened on there, and then you can adjust the loop to fit you or your comfort level against the tree. Got 2 carabiners here, one on this loop, one on this loop. Now this is holding you against the tree as you climb. And as you're using your steps or whatever, you're moving this rope up with you, and it's keeping you attached to the tree on your way up, which is extremely important because, like I mentioned a while ago, most falls occur climbing in and out of the tree stand. Once you get up to stand height, this rope is going to allow you to use both your hands freely. You got your feet on your pegs or your steps, whatever you're using, and then you'll pull your stand up with you. You can safely attach it to the tree this way. And trust me, this is way easier than trying to hug the tree with one arm, put the stand on with the other arm. That's how accidents happen. This is going to eliminate a lot of that. And once you get the stand hung, you're going to want to put your safe line in the tree before you detach the lineman's rope. Now that I've got the safe line attached, we want to remove our lineman's rope and attach to the safe line loop. Now you want this safe line to be about head height. That way when you sit down in the stand, that your tether on your harness is somewhat taut. That's the correct height in which to use these. They tell you that for a reason, and that's to keep you safe the entire time. Going to remove my lineman's rope and my carabiner. Attach the carabiner to the tether and straight onto the loop on the safe line. It's that easy. Think about the time it took to do this and what all it can prevent. Every single one of our tree stand setups has one of these in it. And now, when you decide to leave the tree stand, you can climb out of it by sliding this loop down the tree with you. And in the event of a fall on your way down, maybe it's after dark or whatever and you're having a hard time seeing the steps and you fall, this prusik knot is going to catch you and keep you from falling all the way to the ground. You can see how long it took for me to get this set up. Not very long at all. It's important that you take your time when you're going up the tree with all this safety equipment on. But even then, it's extremely easy to use. That's the main thing here. You need to use all 3 of these pieces. It's going to keep you much more safe in the field. Then when you're done with your hunt, you can stay attached to this prusik knot, and it's going to slide down this safe line until you're on the ground. That way you are attached to the tree almost the entire time up to the stand while hanging the stand and then back down. It's going to help prevent a lot of problems and injuries while in the field in the tree stand. There's no excuse not to use this stuff, guys. If you've got friends that hunt, family that hunt, chances are you know somebody that has fallen from a tree or tree stand at some point. But that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Thank you guys for watching. Big thanks to John. And as always, we cannot overstate the importance of safety in the field.